Rexhep, how are you, brother?
Very well. And you?
Good.
It's a pleasure to see you. Thank you for having me.
Dude, it's such a pleasure. And we just finished a symposium with the legends of independent watchmaking. But you know, of all the watchmakers I know, I find your story somehow very, very compelling. And maybe the most linked to the roots of watchmaking, which were about, you know, the Huguenots leaving France because they had no choice, you know? And so let's go back to Kosovo when you were 12 years old, or even before that. There's a conflict happening between Serbians and Albanians. Do you have any memory of what it was like there at the time?
Yes, some memories. I remember, you know, my uncle, my grandmother, you know, they protect us, so they don't want really to explain the conflict, you know.
Right.
So, but you can really feel some tension. You can really see some afraid, you know. So, but to say frankly, we still had good memories. You know, it was incredible. We was all together, and we look at this like a challenge of the moment, and that's it.
That's so charming. I'm sure they want to shield you from this. But so then let's cut to, you know, 12 years old. You come to Switzerland, you come to Geneva, I suppose, because your dad is living here,
yes.
Right? Do you speak any English or French at this time?
No, nothing. No, nothing. You know, we just speaking Albanian, and yeah, we learn. But when you are young, you know, you learn quite fast. So
I find it remarkable that, you know, you come here at 12, and by the age of 14, you were already at the Patek Philippe watchmaking school. How did you get an entrance into this? You know?
So my father live in Switzerland since 45 years now, and when he came to visit us, he come really with this watch, I remember, and you know, you see him, you don't see him since years and years. You want to see what he had in hand, and
right.
I started to look at the watch like this, and it stay in your mind, you know. And when I come in Switzerland, you come in the country of the watches,
right.
and it's difficult, you know, because you have to be integrated in the school and everything, and you don't have that much friends. So you trying to find yourself and to find some way to enjoy.
Right.
And I was started to focus on the watchmaking, and
yes.
I started to learn, and very quickly I just wanted to explore this crazy world, and
yes.
and yeah, very quickly I was interested, and I want to do my passion, you know.
Yeah, but you also ended up in Patek Philippe, so maybe what you're not saying is also you're really good at what you're doing.
Yeah, I remember, you know, was quite many people was trying to having this place for
right.
sure, and it's a big selection for sure. But
yes.
But you know, when you are passionate, you know, I started in Chopard first practice. I did it.
Right.
You know, they give me something to file.
Yes.
It was a catastrophic. So
really?
after this moment, I come back. I bought some file and some metal, and I tried to file.
Right.
When I came to Patek Philippe, I was prepared for it.
I love that. So, secret training,
yeah,
like in the Karate Kid,
yeah,
like wax on, wax off.
Yeah, for sure.
So I love the fact that at 16 years old, holding a Patek 10 Days Tourbillon in your hand, you
yes.
already had the understanding that one day you wanted to create your own brand. You know.
When I had the first this watch in my hand, really I was incredible about this watch, because it's a beautiful tourbillon, and it was my first tourbillon in my hand. And you know, quickly I realized I wanted one day to having my watch.
When you were at Patek, you met three very interesting characters. One was Matthias Boutet, another is called Enrico Babazzini, and the third one is called Michel Navas. Tell me about those guys, and also how you ended up working with them.
When I came in B&B Concept, I met, they was, for the first time, maybe we met or we shared this 6 months, maybe. But I don't know that much Enrico and Michel.
Right.
But we spend more time with Matthias Boutet.
Right.
It was incredible, you know, because I have a lot of respect, because he gave the chance, you know, and he was incredible because he has some crazy ideas, and I think it was different world if you compare with Patek.
Yes.
And also crazy character, and I really enjoyed to work with him.
Right. And you were saying that one of the things that attracted you to B&B Concept was, in a traditional manufacturer like Patek, it takes a very long time to progress the next thing into the next thing. Whereas in B&B, you're allowed to do pretty much anything that is of interest to you. One of those things was also movement development, right?
Yes. Yes.
Talk to me about the development of the movement that is the tourbillon monopusher chronograph, because I know that became very meaningful for you later, you know?
Yeah. You know, the tourbillon was the start there, and like you say, they produce many different crazy products, and you can see, because start from an idea, you can see really all the process. So you have to do in the component, you know. So we receive the component, you have to decorate, to find some solution, to assemble, and you can really see all the process.
Right.
So it was incredible, and give you a little taste of what can be if one day you will do your brand, you know. And and
cool.
no, really, it was an incredible idea, and for sure, the chronograph. I started with this watch because it represents totally what I wanted to do, you know.
Right.
You have this tourbillon, again, you know, at 16, when I had this, I say, wow, I wanted to have a tourbillon, and the chronograph is one of my favorite complications. So
Right.
this movement for me, it was the perfect combination of myself.
Right. So you worked on this movement.
I worked also in this movement.
Yes,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I love this movement also because, you know, the problem obviously with a chronograph and a tourbillon is there's no fourth wheel to drive the chronograph train.
Yes.
So it's super interesting that you take the energy from the cage, and also I love the fact that the train is all in the front of the watch with the column wheel at like a 12 o'clock. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah, this was one of the things I liked, you know,
Right.
because it was the first chronograph really you can see in front.
Yes.
In the wrist watch.
Absolutely. And so you go from there to work with another legend of the watch industry, which is Franco. And I remember reading a great article on him on A Collected Man, and there's a lot of quotes from you as well. So you really have like a very powerful admiration for him. Am I correct?
Yes, yes, yes. Look at when you see now. I think he has his aesthetic.
Right.
He really innovated. He did something totally differently. You know, I like that. You know,
Yeah.
I think he had a lot of you know, the aesthetic again for me is very important. So when you look at this watch, you can really see it's jewel. So this is really strong. And after that, technically what he did, yeah, I think nobody really can say contrary. You know, we have to accept.
I totally agree. You know what I admire most about him is I don't think he's motivated by money, even though he's very successful.
Yes.
I think he's motivated by immortality, right? And so the idea that in 100 years people will look back and they'll be like, he is one of, or if not the greatest of this era, and he has these fundamental technical achievements as well, and he has a fundamental sort of aesthetic code, and he really thought about his brand in a very complete way. And I know that this influenced you also about kind of the way you want to conceptualize your own brand, right?
Totally, because when you look at again, you think about all the collection and you know, you think about the legacy,
Yes.
and this is really important. And also, if you talk with him, I had the chance to talk sometime with him. You know, you can really understand how he admired, you know, the past. You know,
Yes.
how knowledge he had. You know, and you can really see he's focused on the legacy. So I think it's really inspiring.
Yeah, so incidentally, congratulations on your 10th anniversary.
Thank you
That's
very much.
absolutely wonderful.
Thank you very much.
So talk to me about 2012. So you launched AkriviA, right? The watch you created or you launched a brand with, which is the Tourbillon monopusher chronograph, which is the movement we were talking about before. It was a very contemporary watch. What I loved about this watch was I had never seen such exquisite finish in a watch for a very long time. So talk to me about, first of all, how did you have the ability to have this à Bosch? And talk about the transformation process that you spent in terms of finishing it to this quality. Even the shape of every single bridge was so exquisite, you know?
The chance I had to work with this movement, you know, because I remember Pierre Favre, who unfortunately he's not anymore in this world. He gave me the possibility, you know, he needs some help, and I helped him, and he gave me the possibility to put me this movement.
Wow.
And to help me for the construction of this movement, because we changed some things. So
Right.
I helped him, and in exchange he gave me this possibility, so I
awesome.
can get this ébauche. But we did the design and everything. But you know, I had a lot of passion and about the finishing, the decoration, and really I learned this in Patek, and it was incredible. And you know, I just wanted to having a watch or a movement very traditional, but an aesthetic different.
Yes.
But to say frankly, at this moment in 2012, I remember not so much people was interested in decoration. You know, it was the way, you know, we was in some years, you know, we want to create many different things, but nobody really, when we're talking about this, oh, but it's too old, stop with this, we have to evolve, you know.
Right.
And I'm feeling a little bad because at this moment I was just young, and you know, some people just want to break my dreams. So I think, no,
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, but you had, you know, everyone looks at you now and they consider you to be one of the great success stories of our era. You know, but you told me that that for the first 2.5 years, no one bought a watch. And at some point, were you like, how the hell am I going to even keep this going? I have no money left, you know? Like,
No, it's incredible, you know, because, you know, I started and I was sure, you know, I said, oh, everybody wants my watch.
Right.
And I did it, I present, many people was beautiful, you know, they appreciate it, but nobody buy it.
Right.
You know, and for 2.5 years. And I promise you, when you have all this time, you have nothing to do then to think
Right.
and to try to do better and to trying to have different ideas. And honestly, I think it was really good. It was hard, but I like this moment because you can really realize life, it's not easy.
Right.
No,
Right.
it's not easy. And life
Yes.
can be like this,
Yes.
sometimes can be tough. And finally, a guy opened the door and said, I want your watch. So I liked, So
You were saying it was someone from Kosovo, is that right?
yeah.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. And I have to say, I really admire the different versions of the AkriviA watches that you made. I think one in particular that I love is the AK06. This is a really beautiful watch because, again, it's so original. It's to see the gearing for the power reserve and so on like that. Tell me about the idea behind this watch.
Yeah, in 2017, I was in a position again with a little frustration.
Okay.
And, I say I have to do a product I can really show to the people what I am.
Right.
So the symmetry, the decoration, and technically what it is.
Right.
And I found, to put in to express the power reserve,
Yes.
with this stop balance and reset second. I
Right.
found quite interesting.
Yes.
It's something, when you're setting the time,
Yes.
you have to be very precise. So you have the hands come back to zero. I found very interesting. You have the decoration, you have the hand hammering, black polish, inward angles, and it's a really good mix of what we did. It's a good curriculum vitae of what we are. And I found interesting. And you want to show people, so you open the dial. So I am this guy,
Yes,
So
yes. I love the video footage of you like hand hammering the base plate to create this incredible texture. It's honestly one of the most stunning watches I've ever seen.
thank you very
I
much.
think it was around this time that I think I came to Basel Fair. Remember when Basel Fair used to still exist? And I visited you with Mike Tay,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And I was very impressed because Mike is a very particular person. He's very sensitive to details, I mean, he and his father were the very first champions for Philippe Dufour,
Yes.
And so I remember him looking at it, and I was very interested to see that he couldn't stop looking at it, and then he went away and he said, I remember we were having a drink afterwards. I was having a drink. He was probably having like a water.
Right.
He was like, it would be very interesting to see what Rexhep would do if he did a round, more classically shaped watch as well. Tell me about like the journey to the RRCC. Did you have any conversation with Mike a little bit, or
For sure.
Yeah.
He was the guy who really convinced me because the idea was, one day to come with something. But, he really pushed me to believe in myself.
Right.
And this I would never forget, to say, you have to believe in yourself.
Yes.
If you want to do something different, just do it.
Yes.
If you want to put your name, just put your name. And really, I will remember this because he was the guy. Many people say me, you have to put the name. But he was really the guy who convinced me, and this is really important for me.
That's amazing. And I know I love the fact that you said that you were in some ways too shy to want to put your name on the dial. And then you're also like, I'm not a Swiss name, why Rexhep Rexhepi, why would I put this on a dial? But if you look at the panel yesterday that we had of the great watchmakers, of the legends of independent watchmaking, you have two French guys, Denny and Vianney. You have one Finnish guy, right? And you have one guy from Kosovo, right? And it's being moderated by a Singaporean. I love the fact that Switzerland welcomes immigrants, because the roots of watchmaking is the welcoming of immigrants. The Huguenots that were expelled from France.
You are totally right. But my father and my education was like this. My father came in Switzerland, and he had everything. They offer you everything. So this is why he say me, you have to be discreet. You have to respect, and I think it's because of that. I just respect, and I don't want to take something. I found in myself, but this was my problem.
Right.
So finally I decided, but it was more about respecting Switzerland, and not to putting a name from Kosovo in a Swiss watch.
Yeah.
But
I love the RRCC one also because many people had made a classic watch, but usually they're taking something from the past and transporting it to a dial. This was the first time I'd seen a really original design of a classic watch. So bravo on this, sir.
Thank you very much.
And second of all, tell me, when people just lost their minds for this watch, were you surprised? Were you happy?
If you look at now, every model we bring we had a little more interest. But for sure, when I bring this watch, was really the explosion of the demand, and it's finally, because I launched it in 2012, and Took me really 6 years to having this. So,
Right.
you just take some air and say, oh, finally it's happened. Finally people look at a little more what I do, and give you a lot of energy and a lot of belief, to saying, okay, I have to continue, a lot of motivation. And yeah.
And so when you were nominated for the Grand Prix, how did you feel?
Was incredible. Was incredible.
And when you won your category, how did you feel?
I am a strange guy. I don't look at, but big recognition for me, a lot of proud, I was happy, and again, it gave me just a lot of motivation, and yeah. But to say frankly, all of these things I dreamed it before, all of this.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, let's go from RSCC 1 to RSCC 2. You came now also, well, I love the fact that you have the personal hunger to relentlessly pursue perfection and to be better. So I love how you just managed to convince somehow Jean-Pierre Hagman to come out of retirement, like the legend of case making, and to hand make cases with you for the RCC 2. Tell me a little bit about that, and tell me also about why you decided to do this really cool dead seconds mechanism with a separate gear train and the star and flirt.
Yeah, again, I'm young, so I have to learn a lot. Still, and I wanted to find people I can learn, because if you have to start now to doing case and everything, you have more challenges.
Yes.
And yeah, I want to learn, and I have to respect these guys, because this guy today transmit us. So I call him one day, I explain what I want to do, and quite quickly he accepted.
Wow.
And I say, wow, it's crazy, because I dream about it since years and
Really?
years. Yes.
Wow.
When I was in Patek, many people talk about it.
Yes, about how
But you cannot really, you dream, but you you are not sure about it. And one day I contacted and I explained, and really, he wanted to come, and he was retired. So I think, what's happened? Nobody really think about this guy,
Right.
And finally he came, he started. This was really more challenging than I think it.
Right.
Because I say, okay, it's a little more bigger, so I think it will be more easy. But I realize it's really challenging to become to a good quality.
Wow. Wow.
But without him, honestly, I would be not able to do what we're doing today.
When you put the watch in your hand, you look at the lugs in particular, you're like, oh my God, these are some of the most beautiful lugs that I've seen, and no one makes lugs like this anymore. It's incredible. Okay, talk to me about the dead seconds mechanism. Why this?
So, the chronometry is something very important for me, and I don't want it really to affect the chronometry. So this is why we're doing 2 trainer wheels. So we have one trainer wheel who give us the right time, and we have another trainer wheel come to take the information. Okay, you have a flirt. He stopped by, because you have the escapement wheel, so turn it, okay, and you have a star with 5 teeth, and you have the flirt coming in the star.
Right.
So when the escapement wheel move,
Yes.
every 1 second,
Yes.
you have this flirt
Nice.
going.
Right.
But the good thing is every time in pressure, so he helped the movement.
Right.
He's not really constrained the movement.
That's right.
So this is the difference.
It's heading the impulse.
Exactly.
Oh, wow, that's
so,
brilliant.
So it's really, really good, and
Yes.
you don't really lose that. And we have another thing, because on this train of wheel, we put it all the hands, okay?
Right.
So normally you have the military
Right.
who still take some energy, for example, in the movement.
Yeah.
But on this is in the side
Right.
of the dead beat second.
Right.
When you have this flirt and when the star move,
Yeah.
you have a little more inertia because you move it. So
Right.
this is why we put the hand.
Oh, that's
so
brilliant.
You don't really have any constraint on the
timekeeping.
movement,
Wow.
So this is really good.
Dude, that's brilliant.
I like this.
I guess my last question for you is, you're nominated this year again for the RSCC2. I don't want to say too much because I'm on the jury, but I have a prediction that you will again be on stage. How meaningful would that be to you?
This would be wonderful. Would be incredible. I don't want really to believe, but it will be a dream. It will be really a dream, and it will be very exciting. Honestly, this show me the people understand what we do, what we are trying to do, because when you look at this watch again, most of the things we're doing inside, and make us proud, because we want to achieve something better, good, and show us also all this work is not here for nothing,
Absolutely. Last question. How does your father feel about what you've created?
To say frankly, he don't believe that I win a GPG.
Maybe you better bring him to in November.
No, it's funny because he's like this. in our culture we are like this. You
Yes.
know? Okay, we are proud, but we don't show you. You know.
Yes.
But I think he's proud.
I'm
but
sure.
he want to make me work. You know.
I love it, Rexhep. You work very
Thank you
well.
very much.
It's such a pleasure, and honestly, you are inspiration.
Thank you very much.
Cheers,
I
brother.
appreciate it.